I'm Daniel, and this is my game, Tokamak Elementary. You play as a wizard who has summoned a little spirit creature and named it Toki. Toki understands some English, but is mostly a blank slate. Like, hello? Is a cat an animal? I'm not sure what a cat is. So, Toki knows far less than GPT-3 or other language models, but you can teach it. We can teach it facts. A cat is an animal. Okay, so now it knows it. What is a cat? Is a cat an animal? Yes, cat is an animal. Okay, we can also teach it new behaviors. Like when I say hello, you should say hello. When my summoner says hello, I will say hello. I'm the summoner. So now we can try it. Hello? Hello. Right, very good. Yes, so when it doesn't understand the sentence, it tries to point to a similar syntax that it would understand. But this is not the most mature part of the code. Anyway, yeah, we can teach it more. When I say very good, you should say thanks. Very good. Thanks. Okay, and we can take a peek inside Toki's mind with this knowledge button. So what is going on here? So it has learned that a cat is an animal. A cat is a subset of animals. Cat is an animal. Good. And here are the rules. So some rule that applies when and some trigger event. There are also tons of built-in rules. If we click this, like everything for how to understand a question or stuff like that. There's quite a few of these, and like some of they are super general. Like someone does something with something else. Right, so when we say something, Toki uses the Berkeley neural parser to create a constituency parse tree of the sentence. Then it matches this tree against the rules in its knowledge base and uses that to figure out what we mean. And these rules are super generic. They don't tell Toki anything about the world, like how many legs a cat has or what a cat even is. But they do allow it to do some basic logical reasoning. Like let's say we give Toki a simple puzzle. Like there are two balls. One ball is white, the other ball is red. The ball I hold is which one? Let's say it's red. And you hold the other one. Okay. So, what is the color of the ball you hold? It's white. Okay. And what is the color of the I hold? Yep. Okay. So anyway, we play as a wizard. Toki is not just a chatbot. Toki is a spirit from the spirit world. What are you? Toki is a spirit. See? So Toki has to be a good spirit now and go to school. Go to school. At school, Toki meets a cast of kids and teachers, and maybe other spirits. Everything these characters say is scripted, like in a visual novel. But what Toki says is up to us. It depends on what we've told them. And the scripted dialogue has many branches to react to what Toki may say. In this branch, if Toki says weird stuff, our suspicion meter goes up. If it hits 10, we get sent home and have basically failed the day. We have to retry. Siti is a very kind student. She doesn't just help Toki, but she also helped us by showing us how to teach Toki a new rule. When she says good morning class, you should say good morning. Got it. When she says good morning class, I will say good morning. Where are you from? Toki is from Little Star in Western Orion Arm. Thanks, City. So while Toki knows nothing about cat or anything else on Earth, it may know things about wherever it came from. But are you an alien? No, Toki is a spirit. Excuse me, miss. The new student here is not feeling well. We're busted. The suspected meter has reached and we are sent home from school. We've got to click here. And so now we have a clue. Where are you from? Toki is from Little Star in Western Orion Arm. That will not do. Let's say you are from New York. Where are you from? Toki is from New York. Very good. Okay, let's retry this day. Go to school. Okay, goes to school. Good morning, class. Good morning. Ha! Because City has taught us this rule. Today we will learn about writing down music. But first we have to make introductions. A new friend is joining our class today. Please welcome Toki. Hello, Toki. My name is Sophie. Hello. Welcome to Syria and Soligal's English Language School of St. Paul, Netherlands. We are a diverse school with students and teachers from all over the world. I am one of the few locals here. I come from Paris. Where do you come from, Toki? Toki comes from New York. Good thing we thought it. Thanks for the introduction, Toki. For now, let's all focus on the lesson. You will have the recess to learn all about your new schoolmate. So, music. We love to listen to it, right? What do you like to listen to, Camilo? Me? I don't know. The Beatles? And how about you, Toki? What do you like to listen to? Toki likes to listen to music of the star. Miziano, what do you listen to? I like many kinds of music. I'm fond of Mozart's clever melodies, Vivaldi's range of emotions. I like contemporary music too. Now, I want to tell you about writing music. Writing down something gives it an absolute form. It allows us to talk about the melody rather than a performance. Miziano, do you write music? I dabble in electronic music sometimes, yes. Aha, so she likes electronic music. She's shy about it with the class, but Miss Yandu is actually pretty serious about writing music. She dreams of becoming a successful musician. This is key to becoming friends with her, which is also of practical importance later on in the story. Let's see what happens if we teach Toki to like electronic music. Let's go home and have a talk. So, what do you like to listen to? Toki likes to listen to music of the star. Let's teach it. You like to listen to electronic music. Okay. So, what do you like to listen to? Toki likes to listen to music of the stars and electronic music. Hopefully this will do. Go to school. And we can skip to all this dialogue now. Okay. So the story goes on. The parts highlighted in red are sentences that are important for Toki to understand. The rest is just for the player. Toki still gets them as input, but it's okay if it doesn't understand those. Toki likes to listen to music of the stars and electronic music. It's great, isn't it? Elaborate chiptune with some surprise acoustics is my jam. There, one friendship point. I mean, I share the interest. Now I want to tell you about writing music. Writing down something gives it an absolute form. It allows us to talk about a melody rather than a performance. Miss Yando, do you write music? I dabble in electronic music sometimes, yes. Musical notation is an essential tool for composers, musicians, and singers, but the basic ideas are clever enough to be useful for everyone. So let's get started. Tokamak Elementary is part AI sandbox and part visual novel, but it's set in a school. The classes teach real things, so it's also part educational game. Toki can have a thick skull. Before we can teach them enough to pass the classes, we have to learn the lessons too. So here is some music theory. C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, and F are musical notes. They follow each other in this order. F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, and B are musical notes too. They follow each other in this order. And F sharp follows F. Camillo, is that clear? What follows E? F follows E. Good. City, how about you? What follows C? C sharp follows C. Excellent. Toki, were you able to follow? What follows C sharp? D follows C sharp. And this is how we talk about sequential things to Toki. Great. We got a grade. Yay. What follows B? B follows A sharp. Which is true, but it's not the answer to the question. True, but the question is what comes after B? Don't worry about it. You don't know because I haven't explained that yet. The musical notes keep repeating. C follows B, then it's C sharp again, and D sharp, and so on. It's like the days of the week, right? After the weekend, it's Monday again. Is there a way to break this cycle? Make the weekend never end? Haha, maybe when we become rock stars. But for that, you will have to learn about intervals. Is it recess already? Musical intervals, Stevie. How do I explain it? Let's say someone asks you, which note is a perfect fifth up from C? Or something else instead of C. You should start counting from C. Keep counting until you reach 7. Let's say you counted to G. Just say that the note a perfect fifth up from C is G. That's it. So, let's say X, let's say something starts a rule definition, and that's it, marks the end of the rule. The neural parts of the parser allow Toki to understand fairly natural English, But still, it's a little bit like a programming game. You cannot get as sloppy explaining something to Toki as you could with a human. Camilo, which note is a perfect fifth up from F? Is it D? No? Toki, which note is a perfect fifth up from F? The note a perfect fifth up from F is C. The rule worked. And here it is in Toki's mind. Here is the trigger. Someone says which note is a perfect fifth up from C with any entity instead of C. And this rule applies when this trigger occurs. So the rule is to consider that we count from C to 7. Then we consider the last thing, call it G. And then we say the note a perfect fifth up from C is G. Of course, instead of C or G, some other notes could be there, but it's always counting 7 semitones. Exactly. Thank you, Toki. Because agreed again. Yeah, collecting these grades is important for progressing in the story, like to unlock the next day of school. With that, our time is up. Please learn about the other intervals at home. I will quiz you next week, and you can get a prize if you answer me right. Enjoy the recess, Stevie. Thanks, Miss Yandu. And now it's recess. Besides the classes, Toki also has to survive recess. Here we can learn more of the plot and have to deal with some less formal challenges. Like, hello, Toki. Are you a boy or a girl? Toki is neither a boy nor a girl. Is it okay if I call you Clayboy? I don't know whether it is okay to call Toki Clayboy. We could go home and tell Toki how to answer these questions better. But for now, these are not blocking. Like we can play on even with these awkward answers, unless our suspicion meter reaches them. So, hey Toki, pay no attention to Zoo. She's just happy to have a new friend she can tease. Come, join me for lunch. I will tell you everything about the school. Can I come too? You want to learn how school works too, don't you? What? Sure, come with us. They have fish and chips today. Your favorite. Too bad it will be French fish and chips. I mean, I still love it. It's just not the same. TV, of course it's French. We're in southern France. But how is it any different from the English fish and chips? Does it come with French fries? It doesn't even have vinegar on it. How do you eat chips, Toki? Do you like to put vinegar on it? Is put vinegar on it an activity? You're all weirdos. I'll come with and see what other funny business you get up to. So they grab lunch together and sit down with their trays at a long table. The clattering of utensils fills the cafeteria, but does not stop the children from chatting. So, Toki, the first thing you have to know about your school is that it was built on the ruins of Oriande's castle. Who is Oriande? Oriande is Chief Exploration Officer of Eastern Orion. No, Oriente is a fairy. She raised Maugris. Who is Maugris? Maugris is the cousin of Renault, a great wizard. Who is Renault? So Oriente, Maugris, and Renault are characters in the Carolingian cycle. It is like the legends of King Arthur, but in France. Maugris is kind of like Merlin. I don't want to give away the plot, But when you have a spirit from a faraway star attend a school built on the ruins of a fairy castle right next to the site of an experimental fusion reactor, you know something is bound to happen. Yet no. We have a folklore club and Zoo likes to go, but it's not the first thing you have to know about school. I wanted to say the first thing you have to know is that it's always okay to ask questions. We are always here for you, and even the teachers are happy to help. Except for Mrs. Hertzsprung. I think even she knows what you are going through. I heard she moved here from Berlin. Why would she move here if she hates it here? That's as Mrs. Hertzsprung's husband is a physicist at ITER. Oh, cool. I bet he's busy with the plasma experiments starting now. Anyway, we're all immigrants here, brought together by fate or opportunity. Isn't Gerard French? He's one of us anyway. So, how were the French fries? Smashing perfect. Lovely cut too, I got to admit. So, they make their way back to the classroom. Math class is about to start. Hey everyone! What does that mean? That was some tasty food. Reminded me of the cold streets of Edinburgh. I visited there last year with my mom and we loved the fish and chips. Oh, sorry. We have a new student, Toki. Is that it? I don't know whether that is Great Wizard or not. No worries. You'll be fine. I went to this same school when I was a kid. I still remember tripping over my feet when my teacher spoke to me on the first day. I'm Pierre. I teach your class mathematics. Last week I tried to teach you a trick about the days of the week. Today is Monday. Zoo has a party on Wednesday. No, I don't. Let's say you do. How many days do we have until your party? 2 days. Good. Great stuff. Today is Thursday. I thought it was Monday. Let's say it's Thursday. Zoo has a party on Wednesday. How many days do we have until Zoo's party? Almost a week. That's a good estimate. 6 days. Toki, do you want to try a question too? Is try a question to an activity? Today is Thursday. Zoo has a party on Wednesday. How many days do we have until Zoo's party? Is have until Zoo's party a condition? Okay, so this is a hard task, and here we are on our own. We have to use what we have learned in music class and teach Toki how to answer these questions. No, 6 days. Good, that's enough repetition. You can also practice this on your own if you want to. Or I can help you in recess if you have questions. Let's try to do it. We go home. And so what was it like in music class? Music class, bleep bloop. This part. Yeah, so first let's teach Toki about days, right? So what follows Monday? Nobody I know follows Monday. So we will follow how Miss Yandu explained the musical intervals and base our solution on that. And yeah, this is pretty tricky and definitely not a task for the first day of school. I've moved it to this demo to show off one of the harder challenges, but we can do it based on the journal. So first, let's explain days. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday are days. They follow each other in this order. Still with me? Okay, so what follows Monday? Tuesday follows Monday. Very good. Right, and we have to make this loop around as well, just like with the musical notes. So Monday follows Sunday, right? And then the cycle repeats. Okay. Yeah, how was Pierre's question? Let's see. Today is Thursday. Zoo has a party on Wednesday. Let's try that. Today is Thursday. And then how can we get it back? What is today? Today is Thursday. And does Pierre have a party? Oh, I don't know about Pierre having a party at all. Right, so let's say Pierre has a party on Thursday. Okay. And does Pierre have a party? Pierre has party on Thursday. Okay, so these two questions we can use to get the 2 days that we need. And then we just count from one of the days to the other, just like, or similarly to how it was done with the intervals. Okay, so let's say someone asks, how many days do we have until Jim's party? We have to use a name, but it could be anyone else or anyone else instead of Jim. Just making this up. Okay. So first, get the 2 days. Consider what is today. Let's say it's Friday. And the other day is consider when does Jim have a party? That's the other question we want to know the answer to. And let's say this day is Sunday. So now then, you should start counting from Friday and keep counting until you reach Sunday, right? So we count from today to the day of the party. And let's say you counted 2. Then just say 2 days. That's it. Okay, so Toki has now parsed this whole complicated rule. Pretty complex, but let's see if it works. Go to school. Now we just breeze through everything. Space. C#. Oops, so I scrolled past it, but we got a new grade, right? Because yeah, when Sophie asked what follows B, Toki now knew, because it's not the first time Toki is trying to get through this day. So Sophie says, "You're good at this. I haven't even explained that yet." And we got an even higher grade, so it's good. I just pressed space too much. Space. Obviously, I haven't answered these. And back to last class. So today is Wednesday. City has a party on Sunday. These questions are actually random generated because the game tries to make sure that we actually taught Toki how to solve this problem and didn't just give it the answer for one question, right? So how many days do we have until City's party? Toki is thinking. 4 days. Very good. Friendship score up. Today is Monday. Zoo has a party on Thursday. How many days do we have until Zoo's party? 3 days. Very good. Today is Monday. City has a party on Saturday. How many days do we have until City's party? 5 days. Very good. You really are a master of the days of the week. Your reward is this weird dial I found in my pocket last week. A mysterious object. Always good to have one of those. It is very similar to a sundial, but I can't read the inscription. It looks old. Let me know if you figure out what it's for. Alright. That's it for this demo. Thanks for watching.